Hi, this is Anthony. Welcome back to my show. Viewers have been telling me that they buy today's featured stock, Arcimoto, on the dip. Well, Friday it was up nearly 20%. That's probably the time to sell and lock in profits if you bought at the recent lows. And if you're not familiar, Arcimoto, ticker symbol FUV, which stands for Fun Utility Vehicles, is a Eugene, Oregon-based manufacturer of three-wheeled electric vehicles, some of which are used for recreation and local transportation. Others are designed for local delivery and also for first responders. As you may know, the company had a special shareholders meeting on Friday, November 11th, 2022, to get approval on 5 proposals designed to keep the company afloat. They basically want to sell more shares and have a reverse stock split so that the company is not delisted from the regular NASDAQ trading platform. And they're looking for a major investor who can inject fresh funds into the company to keep the doors open as an ongoing concern. They've also laid off a number of people and furloughed others. I don't see that the results of the voting have been published online yet, but that's not surprising since as I make this, it is Sunday, the 13th of November. They're supposed to release their earnings tomorrow, Monday, November 14th. Before I talk about the stock, let's remember what conditions the economy of the United States and the world are in. And I'm bringing this up because they say that the stock market moves on 2 things, fear and greed. Obviously, the long-term profitability and financials of a company can play into that in the long run, but day-to-day and over shorter periods, a lot of price movements in a stock comes down to fear and greed. Let's look at the fear factor for a while. We're currently in a bear market, and that's to be expected because we were in a bull market for an extremely long time, and it's time for stock prices to go down to better match their historic price-to-earnings ratios. And we're also in or likely will be entering a recession in the United States, and there are economic problems throughout the world. And compounded with that, the United States is facing higher inflation rates than we've seen in many, many decades. You hear a lot of news about job growth slowing in the United States, and Meta Platforms, formerly Facebook, recently laid off 11,000 people. And of course, there are many large companies that are household names that are also in the news about staffing levels. On the political level, after recent American midterm elections, we seem to have what's called divided government coming in January 2023. That is, the same political party does not control the presidency in both houses of Congress. That actually is a good thing for the stock market generally. Of course, there's still a devastating war going on in Ukraine, and that may have some impact on food and fuel prices throughout the world. Although I think one could argue that the impact on prices for those 2 commodities has not been impacted as much as people once predicted. And here I don't want to minimize all of the other negatives from the ongoing war that include perhaps many thousands of civilian and military deaths, millions of people displaced, and untold billions of dollars of damage to infrastructure and housing. Not to mention that the conflict could spill over the borders of other countries, drawing in other states into the conflict and risking the use of some type of nuclear weapons, which could, of course, escalate into a cataclysmic situation. And, of course, there's the ongoing implosion of the cryptocurrency markets. Many people, including myself, have been warning people for a long time about the risks inherent in this sector. I think in a few years, if not sooner, all people, including current cryptocurrency and NFT enthusiasts, will look back and realize that much of this was simply Ponzi schemes and all the rest of it was overhyped digital junk. I understand that the blockchain can have many practical uses, but don't confuse legitimate uses of the blockchain for future things like land title transfer security with cryptocurrency, some of which are created purely as jokes, and the vast majority created simply as pump and dump schemes by unscrupulous promoters. Okay, let's talk about Arcimoto for a moment. Let's not confuse a company's product with the company's stock. Does the company make fun utility vehicles? I've never ridden in one, but they certainly look fun. I've heard from viewers who have them or who have ridden in them, and they often have positive things to say about them. I've also had viewers say that they've used Arcimoto's product, and there are mechanical issues of various types that they've encountered. If you go online and look at comments from somewhat unbiased sources, you'll find both positive and negative comments about various aspects of their vehicles. But let's say for a moment that every one of their vehicles performed flawlessly for the way that it's designed, and nobody encounters any type of mechanical issues or other problems. Let's say that it is a great product that 100% of customers are satisfied with. Does that translate into a company that has a stock which is a good investment for investors? Not necessarily. Certainly having a good product with no defects and no returns is a plus for a company and potentially a plus for the bottom line, but not necessarily. These are expensive products being produced in the state of Oregon. And fortunately for us long-term residents, it is becoming extremely expensive to live in the state. Wages in the state are relatively high compared to others in the United States. Arcimoto is a manufacturing company that has high manufacturing costs. And of course, we all know that because of inflation and certain aspects of the recent worldwide pandemic, many raw material prices have gone up dramatically. Think about other manufactured items. How many are still manufactured in the United States? Very few. And of the companies that do manufacture products in the United States, how many have gone bankrupt or experienced severe financial problems where they had to be temporarily bailed out by loans from the United States government or purchased by foreign-owned entities? Actually, very many. Now, you don't need to write to me in the comments and point out that there are some companies that can competitively manufacture some items in the United States. I know there are. But if you look at manufacturing transportation-related products, in particular vehicles, it is a very difficult industry to survive in if it's based in the United States. Now, let's look at their competitors, or who their competitors could be. I don't see Arcimoto currently having to compete with competitors from China and or from India. But quite frankly, what would stop any of the myriad of Chinese or Indian companies that could produce a similar product for much less and ship it to the United States for less than it cost Arcimoto to produce the item for American customers? So does Arcimoto have much advantage over these potential competitors? Probably not much. These products may be neat, they may be cool, they may be fun. But ultimately, these are tricycles with batteries. This is not rocket science. These are expensive, high-priced tricycles. What about the company itself? Their financials are a disaster. There's really nothing in their financials that say this is any type of a good investment. If you're an investor, ask yourself, are you an investor because you think the products are great? Would you invest in the stock if all you were told is that they're an American-based manufacturer who has never made a profit, who loses far more money than they make on their products, who has had to lay off or furlough a large percentage of their staff recently, whose CEO has been removed because he was arrested for drunk driving in one of their products earlier this year, and whose stock risks being delisted from NASDAQ, and even if it doesn't, your holdings will be watered down by the issuance of more stock just to keep the company solvent. If you didn't know that they made fun utility vehicles, but simply knew the rest of the information that I just said, would you still invest in the stock? I doubt it. But if you do currently own the stock, what should you do? Remember, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm an entertainer that focuses mainly on stock investing on YouTube. I'm not going to give you advice, but I'm trying to prompt you to consider for you to make your own decisions on whether you should buy, sell, or hold particular stocks. As I mentioned earlier in this video last Friday, there was a pop-up in the price of the stock. When it opens on Monday, it could continue popping up a little bit with people thinking that it's going to go up more and rushing in. Or people could sell, locking in gains, or at least lower losses, which could then put pressure on the stock price, likely driving it down. Many people have written to me saying that this is part of their highly speculative component of their overall investment portfolio. While I think that there isn't any one model portfolio for everyone, I think that for some people, having a small percentage of their overall portfolio that they use for highly speculative investments might be appropriate. Again, this is not necessarily appropriate for everyone. You need to look at your own situation and financial needs. But my thoughts for them is to entertain them, not to advise them on investments. But I'm extremely concerned about the medium and long-term prospects of this company. But let's think about this. If you think that this is a hidden gem, then you believe that there's hidden value here that's not recognized by the market? Why do you think that you're correct and everyone else, Apollo Management, Kathy Wood, BlackRock, KKR, everyone else who knows about this company still doesn't want to buy in at 50 or 60 cents a share? Now, all of those so-called smart money, big names on Wall Street, have made mistakes in the past and will continue to make mistakes in the future. Maybe you're right on Arcimoto and they're all wrong. All I'm asking of you is that you reevaluate whether you're holding on to something that I believe will continue to lose value. Though I may be wrong, is this the right thing for your portfolio? Okay, that's all I want to say for today's video, because it's becoming much longer than I expected. But I think that it's important to completely cover the issues that I touch upon so that you can see both sides and hopefully make the best decisions for yourself possible. Thank you for watching and good luck in investing. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out and it doesn't cost you anything. You just have to click the subscribe button below. I'd also love it if you click the like button and please leave a comment. Even if you disagree with me, I would really love hearing from you. Thank you very much.